Yep. Thanksgiving week. We're live.
Munching away.
Probably the most unprepared week. What do you think? Because I don't know. When it comes to Thanksgiving week, do you start shut down like when Thanksgiving week comes?
Oh no, I have 9 appointments today. I have 11 appointments tomorrow. I have 4 appointments on Wednesday. Friday from 11:30 until 7:30. I have 11 appointments.
Oh wow.
I
usually start every year, and I think it feels like because it feels like it's the beginning of the holidays. It's like, okay, maybe it's time to relax and step back a little bit. And I always get that feeling around Thanksgiving every year. So, a lot of my stuff is half-ass planned, I want to say. So anyway, talk to me again because I think you keep hearing your microphone fade out.
Is it me? It could be just where I'm at, and my voice is a little off because I've been talking so much that my voice is a little sore.
All right, try to bring your microphone closer because you kind of fade out.
I can't. It's the way the arm and this is the closest. I'll try to just speak louder.
Okay.
All right. Does that work if I speak a little bit louder right there?
There we go. Hold on a second here. Little boy's going to say hi, and then he's going to be locked out of the office. Say hi, little boy. Say hi. See, he's got his apple juice. Okay. Go night-nights. Grandpa loves you. Go night-nights. Go night-nights. Go night-nights. Grandpa didn't lock the door. All right, so tonight's episode, ladies and gentlemen, we decided to talk about the things that we do on Thanksgiving sides, Thanksgiving traditions, things like that. Even Thanksgiving drinks. I mean, is there a Thanksgiving drink? Have you thought about that? There isn't. There isn't. All right. You keep fading out.
Am I cutting out again?
Yeah. Yeah, you're out. There you go. Your lips are moving, but I do not hear you.
Let me check
Let's make an adjustment here while she does that. Well, she's going to make an adjustment real quick, guys, while I talk about what we're doing on tonight's episode. So we decided to make this one about the Thanksgiving sides. All right. The things go on, not the turkey. Right? Because we all know the turkey, and we can do a turkey a million ways. And we're probably going to talk about how we're going to do our turkeys. Right. We're talking about the other things that we're having on our plate. However, I know I said not turkey, but I am throwing something in that I do afterwards. All right. And it's something I love. It's a Pennsylvania Northeast tradition. All right. And that is the open face turkey sandwich. I don't have any gravy on it. I don't have any, I don't have any potatoes on it. And I don't have any of the stuffing onto it like you normally would have around this plate. But I'm like, I'm just going to do it. I know I'm not going to eat it all, but I'm going to still do it because it's just an awesome thing. And I did it on English muffins, not on typical white bread. Then we have a whole plate of sides tonight, right? And I'm going to go through my sides while she's getting ready. Stuffing, which we all know we have. We make a homemade cranberry sauce.
Oh, nice.
Sweet potatoes mashed, Brussels sprouts, right, done the different ways. And we normally would do a green bean casserole of some sorts. We just did green beans because some stuff that we were planning on doing on it today, the oven got shut off while we were mid transit getting it done. So, and then we're like, what do you really drink with Thanksgiving? So a lot of people drink wine. This is one of the favorites in our house, Messina Hoff, which we're here in Texas. We're members of Messina Hoff, like you are up there in Oregon of yours. But something I decided to have tonight because I found it at the liquor store while shopping on Saturday. They had a 4 6s whiskey.
Okay.
So I figured Tim's going to get 4 6s whiskey. I've never had it. Seal is still on that sucker. So Tim's going to crack this on the show tonight, and we're actually going to taste it on the show along with the wine. So that being said, we'll see how Gladys's microphone's doing, and we'll let her test in to see how what she got going there, girl.
I think it was the wrong microphone that was on. Can you hear me better? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so the way that I see it is that there's various stages of the day and there's times that my clients get on my calendar and I'm like, are you okay with that? And I have gotten a hold of people on that day because they're home. No. So This doesn't look that pretty. It's eggs. It's shuksha, so it's this tomato sauce that you make and you bake it, and then you make little holes in it, and you drop an egg and you throw it back in the oven. I did it in the microwave, so it doesn't have the same look, but then you pour the see, the egg is right in there. There's the egg.
Ooh.
There's the egg, and then when you break it, there's your egg yolk.
Yeah.
So that's shuksha. It's Middle Eastern, but I don't remember exactly from where. Then, of course, a lot of football. So when it comes to football, you need snacks. So when it comes to snacks, there's a variety of different things. You have your cucumbers and your tomatoes and your celery and your carrots, but I just had cucumbers, so I just had that. Then, of course, the salsa. This is a medium salsa, a guac. I like my guac kind of chunky. And then I love shrimp, so usually I make my own. I bought these, though. And then the sauce for the shrimp and chips. So there's a variety of different chips. I usually like to go traditional, just tortilla chips, but I left them at home and I didn't want to buy another bag of tortilla chips. So I went with Doritos. And so that's another thing I like. What I usually buy is either just the chip with salt or the tortilla chips. So those are my go-to, but every so often I'll buy Doritos. These are on sale. Then one thing that can be either a snack or it can be with dinner, usually the green beans, but my green beans, I needed to get them done and I used them this weekend and I didn't buy new ones, so I didn't have time. So I wanted something green, so broccoli. So a lot of people do broccoli as a side. And then, of course, two other things that are very traditional are your mashed potatoes and your roll, your dinner roll.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is, yes, you have cranberries, but not everybody likes cranberries. But maybe they want some color, because for me, it's all about color. So beets, that's another option. You can get the pickled beets or get the regular beets and add a little bit of rice wine vinegar or regular vinegar to heat them up. Then you serve them with, you can either chop them up and add mayo to it, but mayo. Oh my goodness. I was like, what? Just like when I was introduced to mayo for Dungeness crab, I thought, what? And it was good. This is a great combination. So those are the things that it will take you from breakfast, snacks, and dinner. And my thought was, well, I do have a clamato, so I can start with a Bloody Mary to begin with. I have my olives, and then I could do that into my my one pretty glass, my whiskey glass, or you can also use a regular glass. But then what I grabbed, and of course, I have Gompers, so local vodka, and of course, coffee. So you got to have coffee. Or you can just start with, instead of a Bloody Mary, maybe a mimosa. And you can do pineapple mimosas, grapefruit mimosas, orange juice mimosas, cranberry juice mimosas. So you can have like a little mimosa bar if you like. The other thing that I thought would kind of go well from beginning to end is, mind you, I'm not a huge rosé fan, but I have this bottle of Rosada Columbia Valley. So this one, it's 55% Barbera, 28% Nebbiolo, and 17% Sangiovese. So it's from 4 different vineyards. So this is a blend. It is in the Columbia Valley, and it is 15.3% alcohol by volume. And they created 958 cases of this. So this is from Washington State. And the cool thing is that this reminded me of a willow. A willow will bend, but it will not break. So it shows the strength of somebody when somebody gives you a willow, is that, yeah, you can bend and you will undergo a tremendous amount of pressure, but yet without breaking, you're just bending, you're being flexible, and you're getting through the situation. So that's why I decided, you know what, crazy time of year deserves a rosé, because rosé all day, right? And
I was thinking the willow, is that kind of like an insurance agent during open enrollment?
Yeah, no kidding. True story on that. And then I realized I didn't have a traditional wine glass. I have them all at home.
Yeah.
And I said, well, this is from my Oregon Brewery Run series. So this is the the group that I run with every year. I'm a brew crew member, and we do one winery every year, and it's Abbey Road.
Yeah.
And we usually do that in August, right after the Sunday, right after Hood to Coast. There's festivities, and a lot of people from Hood to Coast will actually do a run that day, because after they ran for 199 miles, they figure a 5K is easy peasy. So I'm going to be using my Oregon Brew Run Series glass for that. And then I also had, because the other thing that I had was this one for my Bloody Mary, which is also from my Brewery Run Brew Series, where it says, "Be active, have fun, give back, Oregon." So these are my little mini glasses that I love. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll put my Bloody Mary in here and just be all, Oregon Brew. So that's what I have. Wanted a variety of different things to make it interesting and fun and colorful. And I guess I should take a picture of this before, although I kind of already dug into it. But
Of course, I've dug into mine, of course, while you're explaining yours. And it's probably because it's 7 p.m. here and I'm hungry.
Yes. Well, I've been hungry too. My eating habits have been horrible lately. So sometimes you can't help it. But we're going to throw this in the middle, because I got to give a shout out to the Rosada Columbia Valley. So that's, having something. I do have a few new things on here that I normally wouldn't have. So I love beets. I had a client give me 25 pounds of beets one year. I roasted them. I did all sorts of things. I threw them in the oven, on the barbecue, stovetop, and it was just a lot of fun to be able to then get the flavors of the different beets based on how they were made. But this way was a little different for me, with a little bit of rice vinegar and the mayo. So this is like...
We usually get the golden ones, and that's what that was. They didn't get roasted; they're getting put into the green bean salad.
Okay.
That's usually what we do.
Okay.
All right. And so Gwen took the week off, which I'm trying to take the week off, but I have still a couple of the odds and ends I'm doing. She put them in the oven to roast, and then she ran to the store to pick up a couple other things that she needed. And my daughter... I come back into my office and I'm working, right? Totally oblivious to what's outside this office during the day. My daughter come out and seen the oven on. She goes, "Oh, that should be off." So she turned it off. And my wife came back an hour and a half later and go, "Who turned the oven off?" So the roasted beets aren't part of the... And Gwen's like, "Well, I could just do regular beans." I mean, which we've got literally fresh green beans,
right,
to make ours every year. She just cooked them up and steamed them, and then threw in some almonds, sliced almonds, which is something we normally do with some butter. We do that with beans quite a lot around the house.
Okay.
All right. Like almost everything's like a small bit of what we will have. Right. We start out our day. Now, one thing I didn't get, because we start out our day, and it is a 1 hour one way to go get these. We do oysters in the morning, and I usually, get about 2 dozen, usually Connecticut Blue Point. I'll usually get a dozen Connecticut Blue Point and a dozen of Gulf oysters.
Okay, yeah.
And sometimes I've gotten, more than a dozen, depending, on who's going to be here.
Right.
But usually it's a dozen of each. And basically I turn on the grill in the morning. I set up an entire oyster bar on a outside, all the fixings to go with an oyster bar out on a table out by the grill outside. Okay. We usually make a pitcher of Bloody Marys and just pop oysters as we start the cooking process. Now my grill this year, just because of things moving around the house, the grill and stuff, everything is now inside my carport. So the grill and the smoker, everything's inside the carport, and that way I'll be able to. I can start the getting the fire going, right, in the smoker to do the turkey while we're grilling the oysters now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I have a kind of a countertop that's on top of a set of shelves, which basically I will clean off and put a tablecloth on it tomorrow, and our tomorrow or Wednesday. and then be able to set everything up for the oysters there. But and be pouring Bloody Marys out there. Now we have a refrigerator right there, so I'll keep them in there, and I'll fire up my smoker, and I usually will take an hour getting it to the temperature I want.
Okay.
And then I will start putting in the wood that will give the turkey the flavor before I put the turkey in. So I will start brining my turkey, and I'm coming up with a Cajun brine this year.
Okay. Oh,
that
nice.
I put together. Yeah, I've come up with a Cajun brine that I will start soaking it in. I'll probably start smoking it tomorrow night.
Okay.
All right, maybe as early as Wednesday morning. But I will try to do. I try to do at least 24 hours, if not
Okay.
more,
I was going to ask
in
how
my
long.
brine. That's my brine, because I know I'm going to put this turkey in for the first hour and a half in that smoker with nothing wrapped around it.
Okay. So
Because
you
I
need
want to pull
to
flavor. Yeah, I need a little juicy, because I'm going to pull the flavor of that wood into the turkey, right, for the first hour and a half, and I need something that's going to be able to that moisture is not going to leak out.
Mhm.
It can get dry, and it isn't until after an hour and a half, and then I come back and I wrap it. Right now, I've got my flavor in there. I'm going to now wrap the turkey and leave it in the smoker for the remainder of the time to cook it.
How long do you keep it in there for?
It's generally, I want to say it's about 4 hours.
Uh-huh.
All right. I got a 14-pound burger this year, and I got a spiral sliced ham that's pre-cooked, but I will put that spiral sliced ham in for that last hour and a half to soak up the wood smell. Yeah. All right, into it. And I've got a bourbon glaze. So, I mean, in that ham, I'm going to put that ham in a separate pan with that bourbon glaze onto it. I'm probably going to add a little bit more whiskey to my glaze and then cook it into it. All right, in that last hour and a half, pull it in there. So all the sides then are done in the house, with the exception I'm probably going to stuff some of my stuffing in the bird.
Okay.
All right. I know this year one of the things we're going to do is we're doing several different stuffings, which you do. I've always liked a traditional stovetop type mixture. Gwen loves a cornbread. I think we found a cornbread stovetop that we kind of like. And then we're going to divide it out and put smoked oysters in part of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and part of it we're going to have undone. And the one that's in the bird, though, is not going to have the oysters in because my daughter can't take seafood. Right. So, I mean, I've got this all planned out on how I do things for the day, because it's beginning my appetizers in the morning, and I don't need a traditional breakfast, right? And then, you know what I mean? Because I start the cooking process through the day, and then we'll probably eat lunch, our meal about 3:00. How about you?
Well, things have changed over the years. I remember one year we ended up having salmon for dinner instead. Yeah. And one year I remember way back when I was younger, my brother said, I want tamales. And so we ended up with tamales instead of a bird. And it was perfectly fine, because tamales, it's a whole process. It takes all day. So it was fun. So we went with tamales. If I do make a bird, I remember one time making a bird in July. It was like beginning of July. It was hot, and I had a bird in my freezer. And it was actually for the ex-husband at the time we were dating. I wanted to cook a nice meal. I mean, I had cooked, but this was like a big meal. So the way that it's one of my mom's recipes, and there is no bread. My bread does not touch my bird because I don't want it to dry out. Oh, yeah. So what we do, my cousin calls it the protein stuffing, because it is a stuffing. There is a difference between stuffing and dressing. Dressing is one that you make outside the bird. The stuffing it's actually inside the bird. It's cooked with the bird, and you can have both. My sister-in-law loves the stovetop, and so she'll always make a dressing, and she'll call it stuffing. And I'm like, it's not stuffing, it's dressing, because it's not in the bird. So the way that I make mine, it's all veggies and protein. So ground beef. At times I've put in ground pork, but usually it's just ground beef that's been cooked and seasoned the way that, however you like it. Then the there are 7 items. So there's carrots, celery, green onions, green bell peppers, black olives, green olives, capers. Hard to find red delicious apples, so sometimes I've used Fuji instead, and the ground beef. So the veggies are cut into small pieces. Although I had a friend that made the recipe, and he used Kalamata olives and just slivered them into 4s, and everything was very chunky. And I'm like, this would never have passed my mom's production line inspection. I remember eating it, and she'd send it right back like too big, and we had to make them smaller. Everything had to be uniform. It was a process. It was a thing. So everything has to be cut, chopped up. So that gets all steamed and seasoned also. Once the veggies are steamed and the meat is cooked, we blend the ground beef and the veggies all together, and then the bird is slathered with usually we do garlic powder and butter. So butter goes in between the bird and the skin. So in between there, we put butter all through it, and then we shove everything into the bird and all around it before we get the little bird, the legs, and cross them over. We're not going to get the wings and, put them all. We don't worry about that. It's just the legs to keep everything together. And the entire amount of stuffing goes into this container, cover it up, throw it in the oven. So what happens is, and if you eat this dressing right now before it becomes a stuffing, it's okay.
Okay.
But it's just okay. It is the juices of the bird that make that stuffing absolutely delicious. And then, of course, all the juices from the meat and the veggies get into the bird, so it keeps the bird very moist. So now you have moist turkey and delicious, flavoring in the stuffing. And then you can make like your sandwich that you had, your turkey sandwich. You can then have some of that turkey stuffing along with it. We would have it with eggs. So we would make scrambled eggs usually with the stuffing. And then for any leftovers, we would make chile rellenos and fill the chile rellenos with that stuffing and make chile rellenos from that. So we would multi-purpose this stuffing into breakfast sandwiches, chile rellenos. Mm-hmm. So it's that's good stuff.
So one thing I never hear talked about, and I know I'm going to kind of combine shows. We'll talk a little about last week's show. Last week we made Reuben quesadillas, and we made it because it was something we talked about.
Yeah.
And we said, what else can we do in quesadillas? I've never seen somebody try to make a Thanksgiving quesadilla. Think about that. You put a combination of what you would have in Thanksgiving in there. All mm-hmm. right. Oil it, fry it on both sides.
Mm. That would
do I have your mind thinking, would that be a good idea? Or have your mind going, that's gross?
No, it's like, because I'm trying to think of what I would put in there, because the other day I bought some Doritos. By the way, these are just the salsa verde Doritos. I got the one.
By the way, that is not the first time that Doritos have made an appearance on our podcast. I think this is the first time that Gladys introduced the Doritos on the podcast.
I don't eat junk food all, once in a while, but I'll get the cravings. I'll get into the chips and salsa thing for a little bit, but it's usually potato, not the potato chips, but the tortilla chips. I do like just lightly salted potato chips, but the Doritos once in a while. And I got a bag of the Cool Ranch, which I like, with the cheese dip, but this one was the Strangest Things or Weird Thing. I forgot. It's a movie. So half of it was Cool Ranch and the other half was pizza. Mm-hmm. The pizza was just okay. So that's what my thought is. If you can make a Doritos that tastes like pizza, why couldn't we make a quesadilla with turkey and stuffing and cranberries in there? I mean, you make a sandwich. Why couldn't you make a quesadilla just like the Reuben?
Why couldn't you make it into a quesadilla?
Right. So that's my thought.
Why couldn't you make it a taco out of it?
Right. So normally, I would have just the Doritos by themselves, but because I didn't want to go home to pick up the tortilla chips because I didn't have time. I'm actually having my chunky guac as well as my medium salsa with my salsa Doritos.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, this salsa is a little too sweet. So the way that I would fix this is that I would put a little bit of lemon, even a little bit of rice vinegar in there, just to tone it down. And maybe I would throw in avocado in there. Ooh, let's throw this in with my avocado over here. See how I like it. Now try with the wine.
I've had mine with both the wine and the whiskey.
Okay. How do you like it?
I like the whiskey because the whiskey's it's not a heavy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Whiskey's, unlike your bourbons are going to be more heavier. Whiskey's kind of light. So it's gone with everything on the plate.
Okay.
And whereas, I mean, normally, I mean, you sit there and think through your wine before you'd have a wine.
Mm-hmm.
But most people hardly anybody's going to have a whiskey with their Thanksgiving dinner.
Right.
I mean, I thought about making an old fashioned, but no, it's not.
No, just straight up. So the mashed potatoes go very well with the wine.
Yeah.
Absolutely delicious. With the beets and the mayo, it gave almost like a little kick in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was probably the vinegar that when the wine touched the vinegar, it kind of made it pop.
Yeah.
Let me try it with the shrimpies. And the shrimpies, I am putting a little bit of the cocktail sauce in there.
Okay. How did you do your shrimp though?
So normally, that's not too bad. I cheated this time. I did cheat. Normally, I buy my shrimp. I do a quick boil on there with plenty of salt. Sometimes I'll do like a seasoning, like one of those, like not Lori's, but something like Creole or something like that to give it a little bit of a kick. I then will peel all the shrimp, but they are cooked with the tail and the shell, everything on. Then I peel it after the fact, clean them out. Mind you, after they've been cooked, I put them in ice to get them to stop cooking because otherwise they get rubbery.
Yep.
So don't overcook your shrimp. Once they're pink, pull them out, put them in ice water. Otherwise, they'll continue cooking if you throw them just down because then all the steam and everything, and that makes them very rubbery. So once they're cooled, I then will peel them. We'll get rid of all the veins and everything, and then we'll clean them. We'll like rinse them to make sure all the stuff is off. And I usually like to leave a little bit of the tail so that way I can make them look all pretty. And I do use a bundt cake when I had one. I don't have a bundt cake, but a bundt cake you can mold, put ice or add water, maybe an inch and a half, and then throw it in the freezer. Then when you invert it, you have this beautiful ring of ice that you can put your shrimp all around.
Mm-hmm.
Then in the middle is where I'm going to make my cocktail sauce. My cocktail, this needs more horseradish in my opinion. Again, I pre-bought it. It was $6 at Kroger.
I did the 12 jumbo at Kroger for ours, but yeah.
And they're the smaller ones. Usually I like the bigger shrimp. Then I will add ketchup, tapatio, lemon, and horseradish. And sometimes I have creamed horseradish. Sometimes I have the roots. I have different things, but it's always horseradish. And then depending on how it's doing and how much heat I want in it, I'll add either more tapatio or more horseradish. Now, for my cocktail sauce, tapatio is my number one. Tabasco is my number two.
Really?
I think that tapatio, the Tabasco and the Cholula are a little bit more vinegar forward. And because I have the horseradish in there, I want the horseradish to be the star. So I will add more horseradish before I add more hot sauce to make it give it a little bit more of a kick. That's my preference. So there's a certain color I want in my cocktail sauce, and then of course I have a little dish that I put in the middle of the bundt cake, and that's where people can come and just grab and dip and go. So that's the way that I normally do mine. How do you do yours?
I cheat. I go to Kroger and buy a pack of it.
Just like this.
She's sitting there going, I spent all that time explaining it, and you do it in 2 seconds. I go to Kroger. No, we've gotten them where we've gotten the frozen raws, and just I usually, if I'm getting the frozen raws, I'm boiling mine in a beer, a cheap beer, not a good beer, a cheap beer, right? And they're already preset up with the tail, I mean, half peeled. The tail's still on, but that's the way I'm going to cook them that way, right? They've been half the time I still have to devein them.
Right.
All right. Even
clean your shrimp, people. Truly, just clean your shrimp.
Just clean it. Yeah, it's. I mean, I usually buy the bag. Usually buy the bags of frozen raw.
Oh yeah.
And I cook them. Why? Because I'll leave them in the freezer forever. Yeah.
Oh yeah. If they're on sale, I buy them. They go down to $6, $7 a pound. I'm buying it. Oh yeah, I always keep shrimp in my freezer because I love shrimp.
Well, I mean, as a child, I didn't have it on holidays. Once we became adults, I remember, all right, in my young adult years, going to mom and dad's, and mom and dad had Thanksgiving or had Christmas. That was an appetizer, was shrimp cocktail. And I mean, as you get older, you can afford it. And also, when we were kids in the 70s, it wasn't readily available in small towns in Pennsylvania. All right.
See, I grew up with shrimp cocktails. So
where did you? Yeah, but where's the town you grew up in before you were 12?
East LA.
East LA. How close are you to the ocean? Think about it.
An hour away, or a 2-hour bus ride, and we would go to the Grand Central Market in downtown where Angel's flight was. Angel's flight was there. It wasn't functioning at that point, but it was still. We knew it was there. But we would go and get the shrimp there, and usually they were already cooked. And I loved, as I remember, I used to love making shrimp cocktails, and I always used V8. I remember using V8 as my base, and I would cut up the shrimp were a little bit bigger than this, so I would cut them. I would cut the tomatoes, the green onions, the cilantro. I would chop everything up. I would mix everything. And then I remember getting just the regular crackers, just like the saltine crackers. And I remember dipping them into the V8 and they would get too soft. So I had to just dip it quickly because otherwise it would eat away. But I used to love
the V8 is not as thick as like a ketchup is.
Right.
Yeah, is why. All right. But you have a better flavor, 100% better flavor.
But that's what I would have growing up in elementary school. I would make Mexican shrimp cocktail.
That's it. Well, that's the other thing is I was going to say, was it the Mexican shrimp cocktail? Because it's a different, and we've talked about this on the show previously, of the Mexican shrimp cocktail. And it is quite a lot of places, like down here in the South, there's quite a lot of places that will have that, as opposed to regular shrimp cocktail.
Right.
All right. And I mean, it's one of those things that it's your flavors. It's not. Yeah, it's not like that's why we talked to the show. That's why I said, "What's your traditions?" My traditions are different than yours. All right, I picked up some of my traditions from family members and some of it from not. We did something early on in Gwen and I's marriage, where Gwen did a Cornish hens.
Oh yeah.
For Thanksgiving, and it didn't go over well. Now I love Cornish hens. I will eat Cornish hens, all the time. But for some reason or another, it didn't feel like a Thanksgiving meal. not criticizing the meal. It tasted great. It just didn't have that feel of family tradition.
Got it. Okay.
There are things that Gwen and I started to do. When now we have, our kids are grown and they come up to visit us. But there was a couple of years where the kids were out on their own. They would do stuff with us one year, and then the next year they wouldn't.
Okay.
So we had it every other year where we would travel every other year.
Oh, nice.
We
Okay.
went, yeah. So we went twice to my Uncle Mike's, which is where my mom goes every year now. She goes to her younger brother, Mike. And that's where going to Michael's is where I learned. That's where I got the oysters, because Michael does oysters. The night before Thanksgiving, Michael gets crabs, and they just sit out at the patio, fire pit, and crack crabs.
Nice.
Not my tradition. I'm probably going to do something different on the night before. On Thanksgiving Day, I do the oysters. Why? When I cook here, it's because that's where I'm starting to get all my stuff ready to cook in my outdoor kitchen. We went one year to where we decided we were going to travel.
Okay.
We used points. We flew the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We flew out and went down to New Orleans. We stayed at the Sheraton in New Orleans, just outside the French Quarter. We picked a restaurant that was a block and a half away that I went and reserved our dinner, right? And then we went in there and had our dinner.
Nice.
And when we were done, we got up there and left there, and we went back. We had, desserts and stuff on the way back. But the next morning, this is where the oysters came in. The next morning after Thanksgiving, we checked out on that Friday. We checked out of our hotel. All right. And then we had several hours before our flight. So we went down on the French Quarter, all these places, and we would try,
Different food.
different oysters. No, we went different oysters and Bloody Marys, and we went to different places, and we would get there half dozen oysters and Bloody Marys. And we did that until we were full. And then we came back to the hotel, got our stuff, and got an Uber and went back to the airport. But that's where the oysters around Thanksgiving became a thing for me. Okay. Now, early on, my wife used to put the oysters in, have oyster dressing or oyster stuffing. Mm-hmm. Wasn't into it until oysters became part of our tradition. Okay. Now we're having oysters in the stuffing. Your traditions are going to develop over time.
Yeah, and I never would have thought to put oysters in a stuffing.
No, never. Now, got to try that. And it's just like, like now we have a thing where Gwen goes, well, what do you guys want? And everybody gets to throw in something they want. For me, it's almost always Brussels sprouts. I want something unique done with the Brussels sprouts, right? And I want cranberries. To me, from the moment the store starts putting fresh bags of cranberries out until the store stops, I'm buying them. I'm making cranberry sauce.
Nice.
All right. And Gwen has got a master recipe that she's gotten it down to, that literally she makes it in a matter of hours. And I don't care if you eat it hot. I don't care if you eat it cold, 3 days old. It is fabulous. Like that. What I had today was probably a week old.
Okay. Hey, the interesting thing is that it's sometimes you master something and that's just what you do and you're known for it, and somebody else tries to duplicate it and they can't.
Nope.
So mom's stuffing, my sister-in-law cannot for the life of her make it. Mm-hmm. She's tried it multiple times and she says, can't do it. They've had to throw away like an entire, because it didn't come out good. I don't know what she's doing. You want it. So when I've gone, she has asked me at times, can you make the turkey? Just because she wants turkey and she wants the dressing and she wants me to make it. My brother makes a delicious smoked turkey. It looks beautiful. But if it needs that stuffing, I'm the one who makes it. And my sister-in-law completely trusts me and says, you do it. And she goes, tell me what you want me to do. And I'm like, just help me cut up whatever. And it's fine. So it just depends on what you prefer. And some people are just really good with certain things. And other times it's like not the thing. Like you asked me to smoke something. Yeah, yeah, you're not going to want to eat that, but you want a stuffing, I can absolutely do that. You want some delicious green beans is one thing that I did not like until the recipe from the little old lady in Southgate. My cousin got the recipe. It's got pimentos, of course, your salt, olive oil, butter, and breadcrumbs.
Mm.
After you steam them, and they got to
Yeah.
be al dente because otherwise, if you overcook green beans, I don't like them. So I
No.
never liked green beans because they were always overcooked when I was a kid, and I didn't like them. But once I tried these green beans, I was like, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
Now I can eat green beans other ways other than that, but you steam them, and then you add the butter, you add the olive oil, you add the pimentos, the breadcrumbs, and the salt. Absolutely delicious. I mean, I went back for seconds and thirds on that, and since then I've loved them. So that's something that I learned to like over time. The mashed potatoes. I made these, and these mashed potatoes were left over from yesterday's chicken dinner. So I made a green salad, green beans, chicken with mustard, and it was like a onion. You know how you have those onion that you normally put over the green beans? I had
Like a scallion onion or
just the onions. They're poofy and you can break them, so they're like
crispy onions. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
crispy onions. So it was the mustard, the crispy onions, Parmesan cheese, and baked it. So it was that, the mashed potatoes, and the green beans, and a green salad, and it was absolutely delicious dinner. So these potatoes were left over from that. So you got to play around with different things and see what do you like, and sometimes it's just trying new things like green beans that I never would have had before, or beets in this sense. I love beets, but I would never have had them this way. So that's something new. Would I have them again? Absolutely. I never would have done oysters, but now because of you saying this, I'm like, I got to try that because I love oysters. And I watch a lot of football. So Thursday I'll be watching football, and love having snacks when I'm having football.
Speaking of football, you're not going to rub it in today?
I don't even know if Mark's on. I know that Robert said hello to us a moment ago. We didn't bring it up. So
wait a minute. I figured you were going to beat me up today, and you didn't. You were 43 minutes into the show today, and it wasn't mentioned by Gladys.
I was looking for Mr. Mark on the comments. I was waiting for him to say something. I was expecting him when it was 21-0, 21-7 that he would give me, a hard time, and he didn't, and I appreciated that. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then by the hair of their chinny chin chin, I was like, oh, at this point I cannot harass Mr. Mark about it. I cannot harass Mr. Tim about it. That was in my opinion. So there's a coach, I don't remember what team it was, that he would say, you either lose or you get beaten. When you get beaten, the team is better than you. They were bigger, stronger, faster, whatever. You got beaten. But when you lose is because you did that. There was things that you did that caused that. And most of the time, I think of my Cowboys, you lost. You didn't get beaten. You lost. You caused this on yourself. You did all these things that, oh yeah. So I was kind of in shock that they were able to do anything in that fourth quarter. I mean, when they were, as my mama would say, se quitaron el cero. They got rid of the zero. So in the first, or the first half, or, second quarter, when they got 7 points, I was like, oh, they got rid of the zero. Thank you. At least we're not going to be at zero. How many more points are they going to put on us? And then somehow, some way.
So we didn't watch it because we were building a chicken coop, but I kept telling Gwen to put it on the radio so we'd listen to it, but she knows I'm not into listening to sports on radio.
It's not
So
the same.
she just wouldn't do it. But anyway, we don't have a system that could watch that game live
Oh,
in
got
our
it.
house, and that's what sucks is we just don't. And Gwen's into sports.
Because
I'm
you're
not
in
into sports.
Texas.
Well, no, I'm not into sports. So like basically the options we have for TV are like internet apps and stuff.
Right.
So we just don't have it. And then I keep looking for a way to figure it out. One of these days I will. Right. But we didn't. I was out building a new chicken coop. I got so caught up into it that by the time I got done with and got back, I had to make another run to Home Depot. I come back from Home Depot and the game's half over. And Gwen's listening to it out in the hot tub. And I was so exhausted from working on that chicken coop that I passed out on the bed for 2 hours. But I was told how my Eagles lost.
You and Mark, I was thinking about you because I almost texted both of you and said, "Don't even start giving me a hard time." When it was like seriously, and then interception and in the end zone, and I was like, seriously, and I almost texted y'all like, "Don't be giving me a hard time," but I left it alone. So. I was not.
There's only one person I give a hard time when their team is losing.
Oh yes,
you know who, right?
Yeah. We're not gonna talk about that team in the red with the red color.
That red color that's kind of bleeding out this year.
I think they did win their last game though.
As in that's the last one they're going to win this year, or they won the last game they played.
Too bad.
I know. And wait a minute. And his birthday's on Friday, so I'm sorry, dude, but your team's not it this year.
Happens. So I will say that the wine, this rosé,
yeah,
with the beets, I think that the apple cider just give it a little kick with the potatoes. It was perfect. It just was, they belong together. With the guac, it was good. With the salsa, it was, I don't know, there was something about the salsa that didn't jive as well. With the shrimp and the cocktail sauce, that was pretty good. And it definitely with the piece of bread and my shuksha, because I'm still eating on this, and the egg, it went well. So this would go well with breakfast. And I don't mean breakfast at 7 a.m., y'all. I'm meaning breakfast at like 11 a.m. So usually when I'm having a mimosa or a Bloody Mary, it's 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Although my brother, I will wrap myself out, but my brother did tell me that he knows why when I started doing Spartan races and all the mud races and terrain and all of those, one time he says, I know why you do this. And I said, and at this point, when he said this to me, I was starting to run half marathons. He says, I know why you do this. I said, why do what? He goes, why you do your crazy runs. And I said, tell me, why do I do this? Mind you, because one morning at 8:30 in the morning, I sent him a picture with my medal and what looked like black coffee. And I said to him, that's not coffee. It was a porter beer. They had IPAs and cider, and I didn't want that, so they gave me a porter beer. He said, so that you can drink before noon. If you are out there exercising, you deserve to have a beer before noon. So usually if I'm having a mimosa or a Bloody Mary, it's usually 10 o'clock brunch, maybe 11.
That used to be part of our coffee routine every weekend was we would either sneak some Sambuca into the coffee or we would go someplace where we were having brunch and I remember there was Sunday mornings. We used to go to this place called Coffee House Cafe down in Dallas. And we would get there about 9:30, 9:40 in the morning. And they couldn't on Sundays, they couldn't serve alcohol before 10 a.m. So literally, we would put our order in for a mimosa or Bloody Mary when we got there. And at 10 o'clock in like 30 seconds, it was delivered to our table. Yeah, it's just the way we are, you know.
Okay.
But Yeah, and like I go to my networking. I think I told you this before. My
Mhm.
networking's over at 10:30.
Yeah.
At 10:45, I walk out to the bar and put my hand on the bar, and she puts my Buffalo Trace in the. I mean, and the bar doesn't open until 11. She puts the Buffalo Trace in my hand before 11 o'clock. I
Don't
don't
get
think
in trouble.
you can serve alcohol during the week. It's on Sundays she can't.
Mm, got it.
Yeah, but
It's
anyway,
Texas. I lived
yeah,
there
no,
for 4 years almost.
yeah, but we can now have our, we can now order it to go. So
Oh,
and have it delivered from Uber Eats. Because life's just
everything.
grand. Life's grand when you want to have a margarita and have it delivered by Uber Eats. Anyway,
They allow
um,
that in Oregon. They steal them. I went, where did I go? And I said, oh, when I was in Oregon, in Scotland, Oregon is a town in Scotland after my dramathon or my half dramathon race.
mhm.
I went to Oregon for dinner and I asked them before I ordered, I said, if I order a bottle of wine and I don't finish it, because I knew I wasn't going to finish it, that's way too much wine. I said, can I take it? And the young kiddies all, let me ask. Yes. So they put the cork back in and sealed it. They put this little seal on it, put it in the baggie, and they did this whole thing. And I was like, got it. Thank you. That was great because I knew I was going to finish it. And so I wanted to take it back in case I decided to have another glass when I got back. I ended up not touching it. So little note to them, to the next day, thank you. This is yours. Take the wine. So
Yeah,
it was like a half bottle of wine because I had like 2 glasses and that was it. I was
yeah,
fine. But it was a delicious place. It was Italian. I had this pizza that they packed for me. They're like, I try not to squish it. I said, because they were going to give me a pizza box. I said, no, put it in a small container because this is lunch the next day. And she tried to pack it in so nicely to where it wouldn't. I said, it's going to be smushed in my backpack. I'm
yes.
fine, And so on the bus ride back to Glasgow, that's what I had. Somebody's late today. Let me mute myself.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we're getting close to the end of our show here today, a couple things. Number one, please join our Insiders Club. Go to likethewayyoudrink.com. And we have some wonderful little things there. It's called a pop up there. I'll actually ask you to join our Insiders Club, become part of one of our VIPs, get some drinking experiences and eating experiences with us. All right, live in person or virtually. To find out more, likethewayyoudrink.com. This show is brought to you every week by Gladys and I. Our businesses support this. This is a hobby. This is something we love to do. We don't do this to make a big money. We don't do this so we get 1 million views. No, it's something we love to do, but our businesses have to pay the bills because it still costs money to do this. So we ask people to support our businesses. This time of year, all right, very important because Gladys this time of year is very busy. All right, as it's insurance open enrollment. So I'm going to have her tell you about that. And then I build websites for your small businesses. But it's our businesses that pay the bills around here. So if you're in need of those things, you need help with your insurance, you need somebody, think about calling Gladys. All right. If you really enjoy this show and you need help with your website, think about calling me because that's how we pay the bills to make this show possible every week. We love doing this. This is a great passion of ours. But yes, we still have to pay the bills. Gladys, tell them about your business real quick.
So Gladys Boutwell Insurance by Design. I help employers become employers of choice through employee benefits because there are 101 different creative ways that you can attract and retain quality staff. You know what? When you show your staff how much you care about them, guess what? They're going to stick around. Truly, the majority of my clients that I serve, they are focused on their staff. And when they focus on their staff, guess what? Staff stay. When staff stay, guess what? They take care of the client. When they take care of the client stays. The client refers. The businesses that I serve are, if they're not growing in number of people that are working for them, they're growing financially. They are becoming strong. They continue to grow who they are because they take care of their people and their people take care of their business. So if you want to know, how do I do that? Get on my calendar, enrollnoworegon.com. And even if you're not in the state of Oregon, Washington, California, that I am licensed in, I will find you a local broker, but let's start the conversation. Gladys Boutwell, Insurance by Design. This is my co-host.
Hey guys, my name is Tim Gillette. I own a company called Simple Easy Websites. I build websites for the small business person, the entrepreneur, the solopreneur who needs that starter website to keep them going. We build it, we maintain it, we run it for you. All right. Make the changes you need when you need them. All right. I'm in the website business, guys, because websites is not always something you always want to talk about, but it's something you most always need. And we wanted to create that solution for you. Our belief, though, is that your website should be generating leads. And that's something we focus on quite a bit to help you do in generating leads. So if you want to find out more, go to simpleeasywebsites.com. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, all right, we want you to enjoy your holiday this week. All right, enjoy Thanksgiving. Build your own traditions. That's what this whole thing is. Build your own traditions, guys. And we will see you back here next week.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.